185 miles south. A hardcore punk rock podcast.
He's mixing it right now. But he's like, I fucked up, dude. We got to re-record
the All right. This is recorded on April 27th, 2019. Here we have John Crerar, singer of Missing 23rd, Stop Breathing, drummer of Dick Circus, and basically in every Narda Ventura band ever. You know? Welcome aboard, bud. What's going on?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Doing okay. Just trying to get this thing going, you know?
Cool.
And you're definitely one of the guys we had to talk to. Basically, I mean, Missing 23rd and No Motive are probably the two biggest bands of the area in the late 90s. Would you agree?
Yeah, probably. Late 90s, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So Missing 23rd demo was 95, but let's go back like further. What year do you think you started going to shows?
Started going to shows like 90. Well, Backyard Parties in 90, and then my first show was at Moggs in 91.
And you went to Hueneme High or Challenge?
I went to Santa Clara for a year, and then Hueneme for the rest.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then Moggs is Bilios?
Moggs it turned into Nickelbees.
And
then it turned into a gym, and now it's nothing. But downtown, it was on the second story. You walk in, you go up the stairs. They had like mirrors. It was dark. It was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, it was all age venue. No, I don't think they served alcohol. I don't know. I was too young. I didn't drink, but it was really cool. It was really crazy.
Who do you see there?
Well, Ill Repute was my first show.
Okay.
And then the Vandals.
So Ill Repute in 1990.
Yeah, 1991.
Okay, so what is that? That's like that's a weird era, right? Because so that'd be like Transition's kind of a weird non-LP. That's 89. Right?
Yeah.
Big Rusty Balls doesn't come out till 93.
Yeah, so it's like the Big Rusty Balls era. They were playing some of those songs, but then they played all the good Mystic stuff.
Yeah.
John would play guitar and sing, but they'd still play the punk stuff, like the hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
And I like Big Rusty Balls, maybe because of the time that I grew up.
I like Big Rusty Balls. It's a good record.
Yeah, way better than Transition.
Way better than Transition.
So they transitioned way better into Big Rusty Balls.
Yeah.
And that was like, you know, back then there was always a huge circle pit.
Yeah.
Nobody would even stand in the front.
Yeah.
It was just a big fucking circle pit. And at Moggs, they would play music in between, you know, bands, and there'd be a circle pit the whole entire fucking time. They'd play like the fucking Nirvana song, and there'd just be a huge circle pit bigger than when the bands were playing. It was crazy.
That's very, it's like good for fitness.
Yeah. Oh, and it was also kind of scary because there's a lot of gangs, and, you know, the people from Oxnard hung out on this corner of the pit, and Ventura skinheads were on that corner of the pit, and other dudes were on the other. So, like, you never wanted to go outside of the pit in the wrong area.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know what was going to happen.
Was that super pervasive, like the white power stuff?
Yeah. There's a lot of those dudes there, for sure.
When did that kind of, like, fizzle? Because they were still coming around, like, into the early 2000s, but it was, like, not enforced. They'd come and get beat up and leave. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't...
Like, they were in, like, full force, like, Moggs and then the Mayfair Theater.
Yeah.
There'd be, like, 20 to 30 dudes at every show, you know. For the most part, they were well behaved. They just had really bad ideas, and, you know, would seek Kyle bands and shit like that. But then they'd also fuck you up if you went on their side of the pit. So, you know, it was a weird time, but it was exciting, and you didn't know what was going to happen. Like, you didn't know if you're going to get stabbed or shot, because, you know, those things both happened. So something exciting about that. But then at the same time, you knew it was fucking lame, and you're like, these guys are assholes. Like, why are they here? They're not listening to the music. Like,
yeah.
And after Mayfair closed, the scene went through like a weird kind of dead area because there's nowhere to play.
Mm-hmm. And that would have been like 93?
93, 94.
Okay.
And my friend Tony and his sister Claudia, they were both from El Salvador, and they lived in Hueneme. They started doing shows Oxnard next to El Teatro.
Okay.
El Fiesta. And they would do lots of rock and Espanol shows, but then they'd do punk shows, and it was kind of, we had a little place for a little while, and then that's when Eddie he did a No Effects show there once, and it was insane because the line was down Oxnard Boulevard.
So No Effects played there in like 93, 94?
Yeah, 94.
Holy shit.
So they were like right at going up, you know, that was when punk was like on its upward swing, you know, right before it really broke super hard. that show was crazy. And then that place just stopped doing shows, and there's a place in Montalvo called Club Deja Vu that's over by Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And then they started doing shows there, and that's like when I started playing, and a bunch of our friends started playing.
Yeah, did you do a band before Missing 23rd?
My first band was called Think,
Okay.
and it was like a Wainimi band with some friends. We played one show at El Fiesta with Good Riddance before Good Riddance was on Fat Records or anything like that. They had
They have 7 inches.
Yeah, they're Loaded for Bear. Yeah, the Get You 7-inch Loaded for Bear tape. And that's when I became friends with them. And our band played that one show. That was it. And then...
Hell of a show.
Yeah.
For one show.
Yeah. You know, there was, maybe 30 or 40 people there. It was fun, though. And then after that, I started hanging out with I met my friend Martin, who played bass in Dick Circus. And he lived in El Rio. He had a back jam space house, like a back house in this crazy farmland area. So we started jamming, and he was like, hey, I'm jamming with this guy, Tony Lopez, who was known as he was like the big death rocker from Oxnard, wearing a wedding dress with Robert Smith hair, full makeup, walking down Main Street in 92.
Sick.
So I was like, oh shit, you're jamming with that dude? Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, do you want to come? And I'm like, okay, I could play drums. I didn't know how to play drums.
Yeah.
But I just said, yeah, I could play drums. And then I jammed, and that's how we started Dick Circus.
Yeah.
I used the singer, Summer. Her dad was the drummer of the band The Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Okay.
They're kind of like an 80s, that song, Wrap It Up. And she had his old drum set. So I just used his drum set and learned how to play while jamming with those dudes.
Was she the same singer that was in Verminicious Knids?
No. That was a girl named Molly, yeah. Yeah,
we were debating because they kind of sound the same.
Everyone,
and they're both Wainimi?
No, I think they're both Ventura.
Okay.
Summer lived on the Avenue. I don't know where Molly lived, but she went to Ventura High, so somewhere in Ventura, I think. And Vermicious Knids was before Dick Circus, and that's why we were like, oh yeah, we could be in a band. This is rad. They both kind of sounded similar, but they were both going for the whole Riot Girl thing that was popular at that time, which was really cool. It was fun to...
No, it's cool. I mean, Ventura had a lot of female involvement.
Yeah, in the beginning, for sure. And there's still some, but I wish there'd be more girls out there playing.
Yeah, Agreed.
Yeah.
So Dick Circus was before Missing 23rd?
Yeah.
And did you just do the one recording? That was for the 7-inch?
We did like a home 8-track recording. That
Did Drummond
happened.
Drummond recorded?
No. It was before Drummond was even in the band.
Oh.
This guy Dave recorded us.
Okay.
And I don't know what ever happened to it.
And then you do
someone has it somewhere. And Rob Calvert from Clinch Fist used to always come and videotape all the shows back then. So
yeah.
I'm sure he has a bunch of shows videotaped somewhere on VHS.
And you guys are a legit headliner. You were drawing
We were drawing because there was no other bands. There was nothing really going on. It was super dead at that time. And the time right before it, the scene was real violent and scary and gang fights every show. And we were fun.
Really fun.
Fun. But there was a band that was big at that time called Fooey, who didn't want to claim punk at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sure you listened to them before.
I have the LP.
But they were huge at that time. They would draw a lot of people. And they were fun. And we kind of rode their coattails. And then people started coming to our shows.
And then you do Missing 23rd only a year later.
Missing 23rd, same time. We started about this a little bit after jamming. And then Dick Circus kind of fell apart. Everyone... Martin and Summer were dating, then they broke up, so that kind of goes.
That kills your fun band.
Kind of
kills the fun vibe.
Yeah. It started being not fun, and so we broke up, and that's when Mr. 23rd started playing.
Yeah, and what was the motivation for Mr. 23rd?
We wanted to do a DC hardcore band,
which is exactly what it sounds like. So fucking knocked it out of the park, right?
That's what we wanted to do. We're because we loved Nardcore and DC hardcore. That was the two.
Yeah.
And then we, of course, the Epitaph Fat Record stuff because that's what we had.
What was happening?
That's what was in front of us. So I think we kind of blended it a little bit all together.
Yeah, I remember the demo coming out and it just being wow, this is really good. Because it's a fast DC hardcore, but it's you wrote really catchy choruses, right?
Yeah.
That's a great anti-white power song on the demo.
Yeah.
And you played it until the end of your career, right?
Yeah.
It was always in a set.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I wrote that because of all the shows beforehand,
Yeah, and Mr. 23rd was popular right off the block, right? Because you got to play some pretty good shows right off the bat.
We played some good shows. We got a little bit of shit for it because our bass player was Eddie Numskull. But he was our homie and our friend, just we hung out, we helped him with the shows, and he played bass, and he was in Habeas Corpus. He hadn't played bass in a while. We're like, jam with us. Let's, we jammed. Like, we were so about playing music at that time. Like, whenever we weren't doing anything, we were either playing music or like surfing in the water.
But why would anyone expect him not to put himself on the show?
That's exactly it. It's like,
especially when like it's a competent band.
Yeah.
You know?
But people get jealous, I guess.
Sure.
And
well, they should be jealous of how good you guys were. Not about like that you're on a show, right?
But we did get a little bit of shit.
Yeah.
I think our first show was with E3 at Temple Pole. And that show was rad.
At Deja Vu.
Yeah. And then we played with Citizen Fish, which was awesome because I was the closest to playing with the Subhumans at that time.
Sure.
And we got a lot of cool shows. And but it wasn't like people would say like, oh, you guys are just, you have Eddie, so that's how you play all these shows. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
A little weird backlash, but I think it probably like pricked you a little harder than it really was.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Right? Maybe a little more sensitive.
Maybe, yeah. But it was fun. It was rad. And people liked it, and then we'd play out of town and people liked it, so we're like, well, I guess.
Did you start playing out of town right away?
Yeah, we started playing like slow.
Like the whole Numbskull circuit.
Yeah.
Slow out to like
slow,
Lancaster.
Santa Cruz. King City. We didn't play Lancaster for a while, but we did, and we
you had enough skinheads. You're like, I'm not going to Lancaster.
Oh, yeah. Well, the first time we played out there, like, we were driving out there. I don't know if you know Papa Ray Ray, who was singer in Coma.
Okay.
And he was like our homie, and he was from Palmdale, and he'd always have these stories like, back in Palmdale. So we're driving out, we're like, oh, dude, it's going to be a bunch of Rays and skinheads. This is going to be crazy. And then we pull up, it's fine, totally awesome show.
Yeah.
We actually meet friends for life at that show that we're still like really good friends with.
Were they from another band?
They're from the Filthy McNasties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very cool. And so you do another demo, and this one escapes me. Or was it like the American flag one? The 96, Nobody Moved, Nobody Get Hurt?
Yeah.
That's that one.
Yeah.
So it's another demo of like Killer in the same type of style.
Well, I think it's the same thing. I think we recorded all those songs, but we wanted to put out a demo at our first show.
Okay.
So we only put 4 songs out.
Okay.
And then Woody Drummond, he mixed the rest of it after, and then we put it out as like a full cassette.
Because there was a longer demo that came out after that then too, right?
I think it was just that.
Like, wasn't there a Buck era demo?
No, I don't think so. I think those are the 2.
Gotcha.
They're both kind of, the one had like the scientists on it, and then the other one's American flag.
Yeah. And you do a 7-inch on If. Who's If Records?
That's Drummond.
Drummond put down records.
Yeah.
Did he do anything else?
He put out the Silence Forever 7-inch.
He put out the Silence Forever, that's right.
But I don't think he ever made covers, so he just like gave out records.
No, there's covers because I have one.
I can't remember. I remember he must have had lots of leftover because he was just giving out records. Like,
Stu was really high on them.
Yeah.
He thought the recording
awesome.
was great. They were.
Yeah.
Did they record? Do you remember where they recorded?
They recorded with him.
They recorded with Drummond.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Drummond got a sick recording.
Well, most of those recordings are probably Drummond's.
Yeah.
He like recorded all those bands.
All the Ventura bands.
On his like 4-track.
Yeah.
He's the 4-track warrior.
That's so awesome. So then, go ahead.
Because he was going to put out a comp, the If comp, that was like his label, and never came to. But
would that have been
like 90, like around the same time as Localism, 96 probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Localism was so important because like a lot of those bands never got documented. And luckily, some of the bands that weren't on it, they did get documented. Like you guys still put out records, right? Like,
well, we weren't on it, but yeah.
No, I know you weren't on it, but you still did.
We
your
still
own
put our own stuff, yeah. And a lot of those bands, that's all there is.
A lot of the bands on it is the only
for
thing, right? Like Clinch Fist never had another
I don't think so.
thing out. No, I mean they had a demo. They had a demo. FAY put out 2 demos, but it never like went on recording. Actually, I don't even think they're on the Localism comp.
FAY not. Oh, I don't know.
I don't think so. Anyway.
I can't remember.
So finally in 98, you guys do an LP.
Yeah.
And how do you meet Igby?
I was just sending cassettes to labels, like, hey, what's up? We have all these songs. We're playing these shows. At that time was when Eddie left because we're like, dude, it's awesome. We're playing all these shows, but we want to play non-Numbskull shows. We want to go on tour. And you're busy with this. Like, what do you want to do? And he was like, well, I can't turn my back on Numbskull. So that's when we got a different bass player.
And you get Maddie?
No. You get
Victor.
We get Victor plays drums. We got
the guy from King City?
Nick from Insist.
That's right.
Yeah, the bass player from Insist started playing with us.
And that guy was great.
Moved to LA. They moved to the Valley.
They moved from King City to LA.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I think Insist was just, I think two of the drummer and Nick moved down there, and they were working at BYO. I think one of them was working at some other label.
Were you on that 4-way split? There was like a 4-way split that had like Insist, No Motive, I think like another band from there, and then I can't remember. I was just like, because I tell Max, like, he doesn't like...
He doesn't remember.
No, he doesn't like really follow like the record stuff. You know, he was a guitarist.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll be like, hey, dude, did you know you were on like this record with Insist? You know? And like, it's like, no, I never even heard of it. Like, really? Here's a song. You know?
That's crazy.
But I'll track it down because I have it. I like to archive stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a terrible
habit.
Actually, before I forget, I would like to caveat onto, you've been working at Salzer's for like 20 years?
Longer. 97.
Longer.
Yeah.
And dude, it is awesome now. Like, you deserve a lot of credit because you do the buying most of punk and hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, because I remember, you know, being in my late teens and early 20s, and like, we would get so excited about like going to Headline, you know, or like going to Orange County. There's a bunch of record stores, or Zed's in Long Beach and so forth. Like, but it was like going out of town to go to record stores. We had to. And we had Salzer's here. I mean, it's been a huge store. And at that time, like, it was awesome at the video store and so forth. But man, you've really turned it into like, it's a good record store.
Well,
you know, I found stuff every time I go now.
Well, that's good.
You know, which is really cool.
Someone's doing their job, I guess.
That's right. No, I just thought that was like really neat because as a record collector, like, they used to always have to go out of town, even to buy like newer stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it's really cool for the kids here, and they should appreciate it.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Back to Mr. 23rd.
Okay.
So Igby says, "What up?"
Yeah, Igby's like, "I love it.
Yeah,
let's do it." And he kind of said, I'll record you with my friend Paul Miner for the record. And for the record at the time, you know, they did the Ignite record. Mm-hmm. And they were doing a bunch of stuff there. So we're like, oh, fuck yeah, this is going to be awesome.
They did the Standing Ground 7-inch.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Did Paul record it or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. And he said he'll put it on LP, CD, distro through Rev. And we're like, all right, let's do it. So we recorded with Nick. We did it in like a day, you know. I think I did vocals while they were recording the music, and then just did a couple overdubs and it was done.
Holy shit. That's insane. So you're recording vocals while they're doing like like they're doing it live, like living room style?
Yeah, kind of.
The fuck?
Kind of. Dude, because we only had so much time, so we got it done. You know, they did a couple of guitar lead overdubs and that kind of stuff. Paul mixed it. I think it sounded pretty cool. And then Igby was putting it out, and we were playing all these cool shows, and he was kind of lagging kind of hard, like Igby style, which we found out, you know. But it eventually came out, and it was awesome. And you know,
so it came out way later than it should have.
It came out a little bit later than we were supposed. Like, I think we did the whole West Coast tour, and we were supposed to have it. And it came out after that West Coast tour, and we're like, whatever.
Was that the first time you went further than Santa Cruz?
I can't remember, because we did a couple West Coast tours before that record came out.
Did you go to Seattle?
Yeah.
Did you go into Canada?
We have, but not that time. No.
Did you have to lie to go into Canada?
Yes.
What was your lie?
We were recording a demo.
Yeah, we used that one, and that one worked. And then one time we were cutting. Well, we were going to play London, Ontario, but we were cutting from Detroit. We just said we're like cutting through to Buffalo.
Yeah.
From the Detroit to Buffalo one, and that time we got pinched and deported.
And you're not allowed back, right?
For 1 year.
Oh,
so
now you got one more year now?
No. Like,
it was only 1 year.
They banned us for 1 year.
Oh, okay. I heard it was 10, so that's good.
Well, even if it was 10, we'd be fine, because I think that was 2002.
Yeah, we were going up. It was silly. We did this like 2.5 month tour. So we went all the way to the East Coast, and we're going back to like Montana, and then went up to go play Calgary.
You did a 2.5 month tour. You're a psycho.
Yeah.
How did you even book that?
Our friend Keebler.
Keebler did it.
Yeah.
He did the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Keebler. And so when we were going into Canada, this is the first time we're going to Canada. We were going to meet our friends Downway. We're on the same label, Sessions. Mm-hmm. And we had a whole month tour in Canada. So we're going through, and we get to the border. Little do we know, the border patrol we're going through is where they train the border patrol agents.
So it's like by the book.
So everyone like told us the deal. They're like, don't say you're in a punk band. Take showers at the Flying J before you go in.
Mhm.
Get rid of all your weed stuff. Get rid of anything that's anything. Say you're recording a demo. So we go, we pull up, and we're like going. We're like, all right, cool. And everything seemed pretty cool. They're like, okay, cool. And then they ran the drug dog by us, and the drug dog alerted on Drummond.
Did he have anything?
He didn't. We got rid of everything except he kept the case that his pipe was in. And so then they took us all into individual like cells.
Yes.
And like interviewed all of us.
Yes.
Went through our whole van the whole time.
Yeah.
So they're interviewing me because they're all pretty similar after we got back together, but they're like, so you guys are just recording a demo, right? I'm like, yeah. We drove up from California. We're our friends up here, and it's just gonna sound way better if we come up here. They're like, okay. Well, so you didn't just play a show in Kentucky last night or like 2 days ago? I'm like, no. And he's like, do you smoke pot? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, do you smoke pot with anybody on your group? We're like, no. He's like, all right. Well, that must have been some good weed you're smoking if you forgot about the show you played 2 days ago. And I'm like, oh, fuck, we're not getting in. Like, our tour's like bunk now, a whole month gone. And then he just looked at me. He's like, but don't worry, we didn't find anything. Go have fun. Don't try to bring any Canadian weed back across with you.
Yeah.
And he stamped our passports and let us in, luckily.
That's so amazing. Like, yeah, we got fucked, or actually, luckily, we only missed one show.
Yeah.
But what happened was, we did the same thing. We said we were cutting through because, like, for people that don't know, if you go from Detroit to Buffalo, you got to cut all the way around like one of those Great Lakes. It takes like 5 hours. But if you cut across in Canada, it's like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like a really normal thing to do. And we told them like we're just cutting through, and they're like okay, and they search the van, and they find our itinerary that of course says we're playing London, Ontario that night, and they called like the club. They're like, oh, is In Control playing tonight? And they're like, yeah, it's gonna be a great show. Come on out, like, and they come back and same thing. They put us all in like separate interrogation rooms, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Right, like how minor of a I don't know if it's a minor like you are lying about getting into a country, right? Yeah, and like the first thing they say is like, okay, well you're doing a minimum of 2 years in jail no matter what, because like you already like lied to a federal agent about crossing, like, and we're like, fuck, and then like
oh, no.
someone, and then like I don't know, like this I can't remember because like we were isolated. But I remember like them being like, okay, who's in charge? And everyone like, like looking right at me, and I'm like, God damn it, So like, I just like fessed up, like what are you gonna do? They have everything.
You're already caught.
They already called them, So like, they just like police escorted us like out of the country. We signed all this paperwork that we won't go back and whatever the fuck ever, missed out on a show. But it's because at that time they were charging like, I think it was like $600 per person for a work permit. Yeah. And we had played the year before. We went and played some kid's garage, and it was fun. There was like 30 people there. We got paid like $30 Canadian, $20 American. It's just like, dude, we're not gonna. You can't do the work permit thing.
No, not at all.
So, but I mean, I heard it's totally open now.
Oh, really?
You don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, it's so different. And like with you saying like the weed stuff, we were crossing in 2001 with these guys from Detroit, and they're like, all right, like give us all your weapons, and we had like all these stupid things to, like hit people with. Like we used to use like the grocery dividers, the rubber ones, and we had like different stupid stuff. And like, who are these guys? To be young.
I know.
To be young.
Well, I'm glad it's easier for bands nowadays.
I heard it's like, it's no big deal. And
well, with the internet, it'd be a lot harder to lie too. Well, it's just like,
Well, how do you think they found the Kansas show? They had to.
We had flyers in the car.
Oh,
flyers in our trailer.
Yeah, that's the thing. We made a fake flyer. We actually made a fake flyer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we like, and that's like why I think they were offended because like we were too smart for our own good. Like I like handed them a flyer, like check it out, man, we're playing Buffalo tonight. And just like I was probably cute, like said like we're playing with Minor Threat or some shit, because it's like a fake flyer, like gonna have fun with it. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I heard the dudes from Countervail almost had a problem. And the Border Patrol's in Vancouver, and the dude was like, look, my daughter's a singer, submission hold, and let him in. That's
really?
Some story I heard. I don't know if it's really true, but maybe in your podcast you could find out if that actually happened to Countervail.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I don't know any of those guys anymore. I used to know Mike.
Strauser lives in
he's around.
He lives in Oxnard.
Really?
Yeah.
I should track him down.
Yeah.
Next time I come up.
I'll give you his number.
Okay. And then, let's see. So, yeah, then you move on to sessions.
Yeah.
You do a, For the Sake of Almost Trying, is a 7-inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We recorded that with John Lyons.
Okay.
And then kind of just mixed it. That was like the thing just to get out. So Sessions like, hey, check out this new band that's putting out a record.
And that's kind of the end of, that's the end of the John Lyons era, right? Like 99-ish. When did he stop?
Well, I think he kept going for a little while.
Did you always record with him?
Yeah.
Did you record the Missing 23rd demo?
No, that was all Woody.
Okay.
Yeah, except for that 7-inch. That's the only thing that Missing 23rd recorded with him.
And how about, so that's
Dick
the only
Circus?
thing you did.
Well, Dick Circus recorded
that 7-inch
was with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny when my first band, It Doesn't Matter, went and recorded there. Fred actually sent Martin with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we'd have like someone to make sure it like went okay. You know, it's just so weird.
That is weird.
But
yeah, because John Lyons is just like, we'd record and we're like, how's it sound? How's it sound to you guys?
I know. Yeah, he was no input. Me and Max talked about it a bit just because it was actually like the best thing you could have done.
Yeah, he was just straight documenting like what you could do.
Yeah, and it's like you should know.
Yeah.
You're going in there, you're going to record all your music live.
Yeah.
Like, you better be fucking tight and in tune.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, he was great.
Yeah.
He was great. But it was interesting recording that. Like, I remember, like, when we did the second voice of Finest 7-inch, like, Scoop's voice was so blown out. Like, and he was, like, up on the mic, and he was only singing, like, broke his head, like that loud.
Yeah,
and it like came out great on
Really?
record, and I was like, oh shit. And I heard that's like what Dwid does and stuff.
Just
like
sings real loud.
Yeah, like he doesn't like belt it.
Yeah.
I believe it, dude. That's like to get a crazy voice like that, you got it, right?
Yeah, you can't yell that loud.
Yeah, you just go in and be like you know? It was wild. I can't believe that Lyons was able to fix that. So how did you hook up with Sessions? They were like a skateboard company? What was that?
Well, they're a skateboard like clothing company.
Okay.
The owner, Joel, is just like an old skater, loves snowboarding, skating.
And were they like
bands.
OC or Santa Cruz?
Santa Cruz. I think they started maybe in San Jose or something and then moved over to Santa Cruz. But when we knew them, they're all based in Santa Cruz or Ben Lomond, like up at the mountain a little bit. And really our friend Joe was the singer of Fury 66. And he was the guy that ran the record department of it. I think Clifford from Blast did it for a little while before Joe, and then Joe kind of took over for him. And we always would play with Fury 66, so
great band.
It kind of seemed like a no-brainer at the time. I think we were like talking to Dave Indecision at the same time. Like, I don't know. We could have, I think maybe we put out a record with Indecision at that time.
Probably.
Which maybe.
That would have been cool. Then
I know.
We could have united the scene on one label, dude.
We could have. I know.
The fuck. Well, 20 years later now.
At the time, I don't know. It just seemed Santa Cruz made more, or Sessions made more sense.
You were playing up there all the time.
Yeah, all the time. We were always up there. We got to do a lot of cool things. Like we toured Europe. We got flown out to Europe to play a trade show. We played all these weird skate snowboard things, and then we piggyback punk shit on top of it. So we did a whole European tour and got our tickets paid for just to play some crazy trade show in Germany.
Awesome.
Then we toured for 3 weeks. We went and played Tokyo because we were on some snowboard video. And so they picked us to play the snowboard premiere. So we're like, fuck yeah, we're going to Japan.
That's so rad.
So we got to do a lot of cool stuff. It just sucks the label part kind of fell, like the label side of that kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And I heard from Joe that they just kind of dumped all the stock. I'm like, oh man.
So you can't get it anymore?
No.
I have it.
Yeah.
You have it too.
Yeah,
right?
I have it too. But
you want people
just the fact they just recycled all their dead stock. Like,
yeah,
oh, man, you could have just sent me the.
I know. Why didn't you send me all the shit?
Send me the 5,000 Missing 23rd CDs.
No, I know.
Space in your warehouse. You know.
Yeah. So would they have given up the rights now, and you can have someone else repress it?
I really don't know. Probably. Joe actually he records bands now at his house. And he has the master tapes, and he has a whole studio there. And we kind of talked about maybe remixing it someday. But
yeah,
I'm sure we could do whatever we want, basically, if Joe gives the okay.
Yeah, that's jumping ahead. That's the next full LP. And how do you feel about that? Like the second LP is like so hard for, even though you guys were more than just like a straightforward hardcore band.
Yeah,
you did play with like some melody, but you're not singing too much.
No.
And so there is a limited there's a limited palette for hardcore.
Yeah.
And so second LP is really scary, right? Sophomore slump style,
Kinda.
But you guys, you like expand the sound just a little bit to keep it interesting, and it was still like true. It's a good second record.
Well, thank you. I know Woody was really trying he was more concerned with that than I was really. And
Mhm.
he wrote a lot of the riffs and Matt wrote a lot of the riffs. Because by that time, Nick was out of the band and Matt joined the band. Well, actually, in between that time, Mr. 23rd, when did Mr. 23rd break up? We broke up before that first record. We did a band called The Skeptics.
Yeah, with Max and Pat.
Max, Pat, me, and Woody, and
Okay.
Martin played bass.
Yeah.
And in that band, we wrote Struggle and Grim Future.
Okay.
And Struggle's like the Mr. 23rd staple.
Right.
And that was actually from a different band before that. And when we got back together, it was, actually before we got back
Well, we
together.
should also say the Skeptics kind of turned into Repeater then, right? When you would have
Yes.
left and gone back to Mr. 23rd,
Yeah.
then they did Repeater, which is Max, Pat.
I think Repeater was the same time almost, or like
Okay.
before it or something. And I think it was before. Repeater was before. And the singer from Repeater, Eddie, joined the Navy and moved away.
Yeah.
And so I think
Repeater was the raddest.
Repeater was rad for sure. And so that's why we did Skeptics. And then Martin, Pat and Max were like way more into No Motive, so they left, and that's when Victor joined.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also got Todd Weisenbaker,
Mhm.
and he played second guitar. And then when Martin decided he wanted to go move to Chicago, we just brought Eddie back and called it Missing 23rd. And Todd went on. He's like
So Eddie joined the band again.
yeah.
Is he on the
I
first
think
LP
so.
then?
Did he join the band again? Fuck, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember.
He probably helped you out and played shows if you needed, right?
I thought he joined the band again. Yeah, he did join the band again, and that's when we decided we wanted to go full force with it.
Okay.
And like he did join the band again, so it was basically Victor, Woody, Todd, me, and then Eddie joined the band again. We played for a while, and then that's when he left. And then when he left, Todd kind of left. He was kind of just over it. And that's when we got Nick, and that's when we recorded the first LP.
Gotcha.
So that's the history. Sorry.
Well, I was going to try to circle back to Repeater anyway, because I was trying to get him in.
Repeater's awesome.
Yeah. What a neat band, huh?
Yeah.
So.
And that's why we did that split with them, because Woody recorded those songs too.
Yeah. And then when does Missing 23rd like end after Control Delete? How long do you play before you break up?
Oh, we go for a while. So then, after Nick left the band, we got Little Matt.
Okay.
And that was right after the first record came out.
Okay.
And so Little Matt, then we just play, we tour, do the 2.5 month tour, we tour all the time, do as much stuff as we can. Then we record the second record with Russ from Good Riddance. And that was just a nightmare recording session.
Why?
Russ was rad. It was, there's a studio in Ojai, like right kind of by Bonds. Like when you're
No Motive did a demo there.
Yeah. So we're like, cool, we got this cheap studio.
Mm-hmm.
We got an engineer. We got Russ producing us. This is going to be, because, we love Good Riddance at the time. Oh, this is going to be rad. So we go up there. We do the drums and bass. And then during like the last song of the bass, the board catches fire.
Jesus.
Or the tape machine catches fire. We're
Okay.
like, damn, Matt, you're really doing good. You're just like starting fires.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, fuck. But now we can't record there because it's not working anymore. So
Yeah.
then we moved to a studio in the Valley, some like big time studio that the engineer knew. So we're just like hemorrhaging money on this recording.
Yeah.
When it's time for my vocals,
But it's sessions money, right?
it's sessions money. It's not our money.
Yeah.
It's sessions money. But still, like,
Yeah, you feel
the way
weird.
I look, it's like you got to pay that back,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I feel bad. And then when it's time for me to do vocals, I realize everything's played way too fast.
Oh.
So
Yeah, because you sing fast.
I do, I do, but I didn't record live with them this time,
Yeah.
and I didn't really pay that much attention when we were recording drums because I was still finishing lyrics to some of the songs.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh man, this is gonna be rough. But I pulled through, did it, and then we didn't like the first mix that came out of it. So then there's this dude, Andy, I think Andy Ernest.
Okay.
He's a guy from the Bay Area who recorded a bunch of, he recorded the first Green Day record.
Okay.
He was recorded like the Nerve Agents, I think.
Okay.
Or Redemption A7, one of those bands. He was like a Bay Area dude, and of course Joe knew him from sessions and being like up north. And he's like, let's have this guy remix it. And we're like, okay, but that dude doesn't have a studio that has 2-inch tape. So we had to transfer the 2-inch tape to digital. And I'm, man, we're spending so much friggin' money on this stupid record that's like a punk record that's 20 minutes long. It's like literally 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then finally we get a mix, it's cool. And then the Blasting Concept dudes like mastered it. And I think it came out okay. I think the guitars are kind of weird. So we realized that my vocal range is the same tone as a Marshall JCM 800 with that. And so it was kind of hard to mix it. I don't know. So it was a way more complicated recording thing than it had to be. And then we toured forever too on that. Like not forever, but a lot.
Yeah.
And then...
And you did like a DVD thing, right?
Well, that was at the end.
Okay.
So then we did that, and then we were recording some demos, and Woody really didn't want to tour anymore. He didn't want to play. He wanted to like not play shows for a year, just write like.
Well, it's because you made him go on 2.5-month tours. You know?
Well, we were all like, "What else are we gonna do?" I was paying $100 to live in a literal shack garage in my friend's mom's house.
Okay.
That like it was kind of like this garage, but it wasn't sealed. When it was windy, leaves would blow inside of it. It was like
it sounds like the In Control van.
Yeah, probably like the control van, but I had my little couch and a TV, and that was all I needed. And it was $100.
Yeah,
so I could leave whenever, and like
sure.
$100 easy to come up with. And I also didn't want to be there all the time, so let's just fucking go.
Yeah.
Everyone, Maddie wanted to tour, Victor wanted to tour, and so it just came down. And then Woody was just not into it, and he's like, I don't want to do this, so he quit. And when he quit, we got Mike Carter, who was in Glass and Ashes.
Yeah.
Kenji before that. He was in Retail Price and Koyaanisqatsi and some other like steamy bands. And he was like one of my favorite bass players ever. Because Matt kind of wanted to move from bass to guitar because he always says he's a guitar player, even though he always ends up playing bass in most bands he's ever in.
Yeah.
So he goes to guitar. Carter plays bass. And then we get this kid, Eric, who's friends with Victor, to play second guitar because we wanted, like, if we're going to do it, let's make a bigger sound. Let's come back and do it right and make it sound cool. And then we recorded a couple demos like that and toured, started to go on like some bigger tours like with Circle Jerks and GBH.
Sick.
Played a couple tours with Against Me, Rise Against, started playing with bigger bands, doing stuff. And then we just, Carter wanted to do Glass and Ashes like full time. They did Kenji for a while. They broke up. They got back together. Same dudes called Glass and Ashes. They're all like putting out a record on No Idea. I'm going to be doing this like all the time.
Sure.
So when he quit, I was just like, I don't want to teach these songs to anybody else.
Yeah, you can't do it again.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm done. He's like my favorite bass player. I don't think we'd be any better.
So were you a band all the way up to the End of an Era CD?
Yeah.
So you're a current band when that came out?
Yeah, that was like our last shows when that came out.
Okay.
And we recorded a demo. I think what really did it was we recorded this demo with Steve Kravac, and he just like taxed me super hard with like singing. And, like he totally got me out of my comfort level, which is cool, but to record vocals for 3 songs taking 3 days is just a bit much for me. And
a bit much? That's fucking retarded.
I was like, I know I'm not that good a singer, and I don't want to ever do this again. And
you say you're not that good of a singer, but at that point you're you're first off, you're a really good singer.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
but...
and at that point you're like 10 years into being a frontman.
Yeah,
like at some point it's like, when do you become an adult?
Yeah,
right. Like who knows? Who's to say? But at some point it's like, even if I'm just 30, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like I know what to do.
Well, that's the thing. I think I knew my limitations, and he was trying to take me out of what I could do, and I was just like, "This is not fun."
Yeah, but you also weren't. You're not an uncreative person that needed to like have your boundaries pushed that much.
Yeah. I mean, I knew what I would like to do, and
was he trying to make you sing like Pat Dubar?
That'd be easy. That'd be a lot easier. He'd just try to make me sing more.
Yeah,
like hit melodies and hit notes, and
man, you missed auto-tune by like 5 years.
I know. The recording though is really cool.
Yeah.
It came out really good. And pause. Can I pause real quick?
Yeah. We back. Go ahead.
Right.
So it just wasn't fun at the end.
It just wasn't fun. Like Matt wanted to write hit songs somehow, and I'm like, I wanted to do something different than what we'd done before, but hit songs isn't me, you know, like.
And it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Good, everyone's trying to write a hit.
Like, they would write these riffs and be like, all right, now write the best vocal part you could ever fucking write. And I'd be like, dude, like the pressure was kind of like too much. And after doing 3 songs in 3 days, it just wasn't really fun. And then Carter quitting, I was like, dude, I don't want to teach someone else these songs. And
yeah. And do you take a couple years off, or do you start jamming with?
So what I did was we played 2 last shows. The first one was the lineup with Carter and Eric, and that was at that Nardcore show with you guys, the 20-year or whatever, the one with the pepper spray and stuff.
Oh.
So that was the last show we played with Carter.
Okay.
And then we played like a month later at the Livery.
Okay.
With Woody.
Yeah.
And then Eddie played a couple songs. Even our old drummer played a couple songs.
Yeah, I was there.
And that was like the last show. And then that show, there was a lot of people. The money we made a lot of money that night. Surprisingly, I bought a drum set and started Emmanuel Lewis like a couple weeks later playing drums.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to sing ever. I was like, I don't want to sing again. This is over.
Yeah.
Over it.
And do you do a band before you start the fucking Wrath?
Yeah, we do Emmanuel Lewis, which is
what?
It's like a power violence band with my friend John, who was the singer of Filthy McNasties. And he had moved out here from Lancaster, and he's kind of the reason why there's so many Lancaster transplants out here. Because he was the first to come, him and his wife. And we actually all lived together on this crazy house on the Wells Road. It was like built in 1890 on like acres of land, so we just jammed in the living room. And it was fun. It was us, me, him, Dr. Nick, and then Josh Hayes, who was in Steve McQueen and the Bullets, and then later on was in Glass and Ashes.
And did you record?
We recorded a demo tape.
Okay.
And so there's a cassette tape out there. We recorded with Armand. And back when it was still at Rick Hunter's studio.
Okay.
We put out a tape, but that band just lasted like a year-ish. And Scheimer, the singer, went out to Boston to work for a while. And that's when we started the fucking Wrath.
And then that was your band for a little while.
Yeah.
Like exclusively.
Yeah.
Because Stop Breathing doesn't start until
for a little while.
09 or 10.
After that, yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun to like take a back seat and just get to fucking rock. Huh?
Yeah. That was the thing. I didn't want to be a front man. I didn't want to like sing. I just, but I still want to play music.
Yeah.
And so at that time, we were all living. There's a bunch of friends living in Montalvo, right behind 7-Eleven on that street right there. We had a 4-bedroom house. There was a 5-bedroom apartment. There was another 5-bedroom apartment, another 4-bedroom apartment. There's like 30 punks living on that street. A lot of them worked at Salzer's. Craig, Nick, and I, we all worked at Salzer's. We'd ride our bikes there in the morning, ride our bikes when we get home, and we just like smoke lots of pot. We should start a band. And so then we started jamming. And at that time, Craig was doing Oxford's Thunderbird and this band Slow Burn with Josh that was in Emmanuel Lewis. And then we just started jamming after work, and we were like, let's do a band that sounds like Tragedy and Black Sabbath mixed together, basically.
Yeah.
And that was what we were going for. And, we just get super high and just jam and go home and party. And
then how do you get the itch to sing again? Or were you pressured?
I wasn't pressured. It was just, we put out like, we recorded the Rat stuff. Some label liked it, put it out, and like right when our record's about to come out, Craig gets his girlfriend pregnant and has his first kid, and we still went on our tour. Like we actually played New York twice before we ever played San Francisco.
Wow!
Because right out the gate, we're like, let's go tour the East Coast. Let's like not be a local band. Let's go do stuff. And so we did that, and then he has a kid, and that kind of like, obviously slows things down a little bit because he's a great guy and, he wants to be there for his kid and the mom and all that. But we're still a band. And then, I don't know, you have the discography that I don't know the exact timelines of when Stop Breathing started, but I think the first 2 Wrath records came out before Stop Breathing.
Yeah, I got the fucking Wrath, Seasons of Evil in 07, and then Stop Breathing with 7 Inches in 2010, and then the second Wrath LP is 2011.
2011, okay.
So they were crossing over.
Yeah, they were definitely crossing over. The first record, we recorded it on 666. That was the only thing I remember. Let's record on 666.
Why not? If it's there, right?
Yeah. Because it was like, we're done. Roger had time. and we proceeded to smoke all the weed and like recorded. Roger was like, I've never seen a band smoke so much weed. We were taking gravity bong tokes.
With you guys being so serious about, or you personally being so serious about touring and getting out,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there's something behind that? Like, because for instance, in Control, I always wanted to tour. We wanted to like put Oxnard back on the map, like really big, and also I think that like a lot of that was like the generation before us, like the Burning Dogs and the Clutch Fists and the FAYs and you know, and the Fixateds and all these bands, like basically that Stu's going to do on his comp. I think that like they were all like so good and it was diverse and these are powerful bands and they didn't play out.
Yeah.
And it's like we're out there trying to put something back on the map, but it's like it should have never fallen off, you know, or maybe it fell off like, you know, a few years in the late 80s, early 90s or whatever, but like there was a whole
went through a weird transition time where they either went metal or they went super like emo, like
exactly.
not emo, but like super like weak.
Yeah, I mean, it could have fallen off then, but like there was a resurgence. Like those bands were good.
Yeah,
and no one ever heard
a
them.
Local resurgence, for
exactly.
Sure.
And so like I think that I wanted to not be that. Like it's like if we're gonna do this and take it seriously, we're going all the way. Like we're gonna go out there and make people hear us, whether they like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you think there's anything like, or is it just you were bored here and you wanted to get out?
I wanted to travel and see the world too, you know.
Yeah.
That was my means of doing it, like playing music. And, you know, when you find something like that where you're like, this is the thing I like to do the most, you want to do it all the time, and you can't just do it every day in your city, you know.
Yeah.
Or people won't come out, they'll be bored.
True.
You know. And so obviously it's another state of mind. You watch that movie when you're a kid and you're like, I want to do that. I want to get in a shitty bus and go drive around with my friends and see the world and get involved in sketchy things and make it out, you know. And we definitely did that.
Yeah.
So we definitely tried. I mean, it was more just about, I don't know what it was behind it. I think
that you put it well. Like if that is your favorite thing to do, and you want to do it every night, you can't do it.
You can't do it in the same town.
You can't do it in the same town.
No.
So that's a really valid reason.
Yeah.
And you loved it.
Yeah.
Because
I love traveling. I like seeing new things, trying new things, you know, meeting new people.
Yeah, I think that driving the country is really cool. Yeah. And for people that like haven't had the opportunity to do it, it's something you should do. Get in a car and drive. Like, you know, it
makes things seem smaller. When you could drive there, like I remember the first, like, because you know we didn't, we do a U.S. tour, we do a West Coast tour, and I remember Seattle seemed. I mean, I remember San Luis Obispo seemed so far away until you drive there. I go, it's not that far. San Francisco's not that far. Oh, Portland's not that far. And then Seattle, you're like, oh yeah, it's not that far. Like, and I think, oh, Edmonton, I've driven there from here. Like it's like
Portland always seems far though.
Yeah.
Because you got to clear all of Oregon before you hit it. It's painful.
The drive from San Francisco to Portland sucks.
It's so painful.
That's why,
even though it's beautiful,
it is. It's really pretty,
but it is fucking painful.
I think it's hard for bands to tour out here because of that. There's not
that stretch.
Too many places.
Yeah, Reading to there. Yeah, you know, it's brutal.
But I do think it makes the country seem smaller.
Yeah, I think it's just insane when you drive up on some of those Midwestern cities. Like I always think if you just flew from San Diego to Chicago, like. You kind of just feel like, oh, I'm in a city.
Yeah.
But like driving into a city,
and then you see
like,
the city in the distance. Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, and it like puts like those towns in perspective.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, people are like conglomerating here. Like this is like a city where, you know, growing up in Southern California, we're just like, there's no real break.
Yeah.
The only break is due to geography.
Suburbia. Yeah.
You know, otherwise it'd just be suburbia.
Yeah, suburbia forever.
Yeah.
You know, Santa Barbara to San Diego.
Yeah. So
I guess after the Wrath record, when we kind of started slowing down, because Craig had the kid, is when I started doing Stop Breathing.
Full force with Stop Breathing.
Not necessarily full force, because I didn't like. There's this kid at my work, Matt Bodemer, he sang in a band called OST. And he loved Missing 23rd, and he was always like, dude, you should sing. Dude, come on, you gotta sing again. And he was roommates with Ben Halen. He's like, my roommate, he writes all these songs. You should check them out. And so he gave me a CD that Ben's one of those dudes that just can play every instrument.
Yeah.
Super good.
Yeah.
Super nonchalantly good about it. Like, oh, whatever. Like, yeah, check out this crazy guitar solo.
Yeah.
It's like fucking shredding.
Yeah.
So he sent me the CD that he recorded all the drums by memory and then recorded the guitar and bass over it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. This will be fun. And then my friend Justin, who played drums in The Return, who also worked at Salzer's, he always wanted to be in like a hardcore band. I'm like, hey, listen to these songs. You want to like jam with this kid and see what we can come up with? And he was stoked. And so we jammed with a while with Matt on bass, but Matt's not really, he was learning how to play bass. And both those dudes are like, Justin teaches drums. That's his job. And
Yeah.
The other, like I said, Ben Halen's just a shredder. So he kind of leaves the picture. And then I hit up Carter, who was in Mr. 23rd, because he's my favorite bass player. I'm like, hey, check out these songs. I know you said you wanted to play in like a part-time hardcore band. And he loved them. And so he started playing bass, and then he got Jesse from Glass and Ashes to play second guitar. And then it took a while, though. It took like almost a year before the band ever gelled. Like me, Ben, and Justin jammed for like a year before those guys even started. And then they got in and we recorded a demo and played shows. And since they were on No Idea, Glass and Ashes, they sent it to Var, the guy who did that, and he was like, oh yeah, I'll put this out. So I was stoked to have a record on No Idea.
Yeah,
like,
and
yeah,
they just
rad.
did the first one.
Yeah.
So why did they pass on the second one?
Well, I mean, now it's not even a label.
Oh.
So
What is it?
I don't.
Is it done?
No, I think it's done.
But they still press shit. Like that Dillinger 4 LP you can like find. There's like
what
it's like
I've heard
the
from,
19th press.
from friends that are on other bands from the labels that
Uh-huh.
Var just is done. Like he's not doing anything.
Huh.
And we sent him the record, and he liked it, but he was like, I'm just have all this other stuff going on. Like maybe it would get to it in like a year or two or something like that. And we're like, well, we kind of want to put it out, the second record, because we're calling it 5 because it was the 5th year of the band.
He's like, I can put it out, but you're gonna have
Yeah.
to call it 7.
Yeah. It was the 5th year of the band. Carter had already moved away, and so it was the last record with all 5 dudes from the first incarnation of the band. So we're like, oh, let's call it 5 and do this. He was just not feeling our timeline. So then we got Jerome from Burning Tree and our friend Rob, who put out the 2 7-inches to put it out.
Is Jerome still doing records?
I think he is here and there.
Because he did the Narcor 30th.
He did, yeah.
30-year comp. And that packaging was like the greatest I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, he works at Rainbow Records.
Yeah, I know.
He's like a dude that works there, so I think that's...
The gatefold with the mounted CD, though.
Yeah.
Fuck, I wish I would have just thought of that. Like,
yeah.
I would have done that for all my bands.
That's true, right?
That's like, especially when like, CD was still like kind of important.
Yeah.
And like, that was that weird like transitional phase. Because I remember like, Indecision didn't do vinyl for a few years.
They were just doing CDs.
Yeah, like for our
CDs
second LP, there was some East Coast label did our vinyl.
Oh, right.
And Dave just did the CD. And then like, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think for the Retaliates, the first 2 that he did CD and LP.
Oh, okay.
And I think now he just does vinyl and digital.
I think so.
Which is the move. It's so weird how that stuff ebbs and flows.
Yeah, totally.
But that LP with the CD mount, that could have been the move for like 15 years.
Yeah. It was a good packaging for sure. And it was all embossed and like everything about it looked really good.
Yeah.
Him and Tony did a good job.
They
good
did.
job, guys.
You do the Night Demon 7-inch, which is just the demo, right? Put out on 7-inch.
So I wasn't actually on that.
You didn't record.
There's a picture of me on it.
Okay.
Because what they did, Night Demon.
Did you have a name?
No.
You just got to be John?
Yeah, I think so.
Sick.
I don't know. I have to look on the 7-inch, but because Brent and Jeff or Jarvis, they met because we were playing a show with the Fucking Wrath was playing a show at the Viper Room, and Jeff was like, "Hey, can I come with you guys?" I was like, "Yeah." And so him and Brent kind of met that night and totally became metal buds because we all know at that time, he was doing the Hershey and the Heartbeat stuff.
Yeah.
But he's always been a metalhead. Like I met him, he was a metalhead, but basically in the Metallica cover band, I think, and like all that stuff. And so they were totally bonded. And they're like, let's do a new wave of British heavy metal band. And they had Pat Bailey, who was from the 90s punk scene. He was in Exxon OD and Patient Zero and a bunch of bands, who also loved all that metal stuff. And so they recorded that demo, those three dudes. And then that was kind of basically it. And their idea was to try to put out a 7-inch but not be a band, and just have that 7-inch be out there. And like, is that really like some old band that like that was kind of like their deal. They wanted it to be like this mystery band almost, like, yo, is this really an old band that no one ever saw or heard about? Like, what is that deal? But then Brent started getting into it, and we were listening to it on the Wrathcore a bunch after our second record came out. But Pat moved somewhere. I think he moved up to Humboldt. But I knew him and Jeff would eventually not be able to be in a band together because their personalities are so slightly different.
Sure.
And I was like, dude, I'll play drums. Like, this stuff's rad. Like, let's play some shows. Let's do it. Because they played like maybe 2 or 3 shows like as that lineup.
Yeah.
And Jeff was on tour with the Heartbeats, so me and Brent just jammed, and I learned all the songs, and then we played for like a year. And I was on the 7-inch because I was in the band. I did the layout and all that stuff. For the 7-inch, there's a picture of me in it, and I'm in the first video playing drums, so it's not me actually playing drums.
Yeah.
So I helped make the first video. There's a picture of me on the 7-inch/CD, but it's not actually me playing drums.
We gotta update that Discogs. Discogs is wrong once again.
Well, it's my picture's on the record, so I don't know.
True.
Kind of like Larry. And
Larry on the In Control,
like he's not on In Control, but his picture is, so.
Yeah. They say that, though, on the LP, right?
Yeah, it says it. Totally.
Yeah.
And it says it on the 7-inch, too, that Pat Bailey played drums. On the Night Demon one.
Oh, word.
But I think
because Lipke played on the Stalag demo.
No, it's
who played on the
Harry.
Harry played on the LP.
On the In Control. On the demo, it might be Lipke.
On the demo, I think it's Lipke.
It might be Lipke.
Do you have that record? It's like that little bootleg of the 7-inch.
I don't have that record. I have the digital of it.
It's so cool because it's that other artwork, like that classic Stalag artwork. I've seen it. You can find it. It's like an under $20 record.
I have the weird little In Control 7-inch.
I have that too.
It's pressed in Iraq or something.
I have that. So we should jump in that you play in Stalag now.
Yeah.
In like the current incarnation of Stalag 13, which is super fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally,
like how could you
finally get to be in the 80s punk band?
How could you
I was like,
how could you say no?
Yeah.
And Ryan from In Control was singing for a little while. Yeah. And you replaced him, but you have a nicer voice, probably.
Well, what happened was Ryan is busy with work.
Yeah, he works,
so he could only play like certain days.
Sure.
And what happened was they had a show booked, and he couldn't do it at Rock City, and so they had a bunch of different guest singers. I don't know if you were there or not, but it was like Faniff sang 2 songs, Tony sang 2 songs, Brady from Last Priority sang 2 songs, I sang 2 songs, probably Brandon Cruz sang songs, Ish sang a couple songs. Then after that, I was just like, hey, if you guys really want somebody, like I already know all the songs, like, and it's in my vocal range, so
yeah,
like if Ryan can't do it, just let me know. And then Blake called me up and was like, let's do it, dude. And so it was really cool.
Yeah. Have you gotten to play any interesting shows now with them?
Yeah. We went to Europe, played a couple punk rock bowlings, played some cool shows here. Europe's probably the best thing. And we're going to go to Japan in September, so that should be cool.
That rules.
Yeah.
And did you play the club shows at Punk Rock Bowling, or were you on the big?
We played club shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first show we played, I think that was my really first show with them, was a club show with Gangrene and Final Complex.
Fucking ripper of a show, huh?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was rad.
Is Gangrene good still?
Well, I got hurt at that show. Stupidly. I have heel spurs that I didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
It's this thing called plantar fasciitis. I don't know if you've ever heard about it.
No.
I didn't know about it at all. But I'm just like singing, and like it hurts your heel.
Okay.
And so for a while, like I'd wake up in the morning and I'd walk and be like, my heel hurts, and then it goes away. Little did I know that's an actual problem. And so we were playing, and I was on the barricade singing with people, and I literally just turned around to step back on the stage and I heard a pop, and I thought I broke my foot.
Oh my God.
And if there's a YouTube video of it, and you hear like, you can see me go, oh, I think I broke my foot. And so then I had to play the last song standing in place, just like holding my foot. And so I left after that because I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
we went and walked back to the hotel, got crutches, and went to the emergency urgent care place, and so that made that punk rock one kind of weird. So I didn't get to see Gangrene. So
man, that's.
But they were partying backstage pretty hard.
Well, that's what it's about, right?
So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking keeping it real.
Well, that shit that's like it came out later, but like I think it's their demos. That shit they put out is like it's called Preschool.
Oh yeah,
or something. That's like the fastest, most insane music like possible.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, they're all pretty cool guys. From what hey, what's up?
Before you gathered, before you fucked yourself up.
Yeah, they seem like a party.
Do you want to jump into the Dad Brains stuff, or do you want to wrap?
Well, we can do Dad Brains.
So that's a fun band that you're doing now.
Yeah, Dad Brains is
it's dads.
It's
and
dads.
You get to be label mates with Cockspar.
That's pretty amazing.
That's the coolest thing about that band.
That band it's ridiculous. Well, I did a couple other bands too. There's a band called Mask I was doing with the singer from Strike Anywhere.
Okay.
And the two dudes from Catholic Spit.
Okay.
Because I wanted to keep playing drums, and so we started a band. It's called Mask because he was living in Ventura for a couple of years, and it's total death rock, TSOL, Christian death Bauhausy kind of sounding, but still punk.
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing that for a while, and then he moved up to Oakland, which is a perfect place for him to live. But that band's transitioned into a new band called Detoxi. Same kind of stuff, but our second guitar player, Derek, now sings, and he has a really cool voice. And we're doing stuff right now. And during that time, Pat hit me up and was like, dude, I'm having a kid. My kid's 3.5 years old now. He's like, I always write these silly hardcore songs like he's always have. I mean, I've known Pat for forever. The first No Motive show, we were talking about it because I think they're playing some shows coming up this summer. I sang a Good Riddance cover with them.
Really? They covered Good Riddance?
When they started, they sounded just like a lot like Good Riddance.
Yeah, but faster.
But faster, yeah.
Yeah.
But with the same still drum beat, everything.
Yeah.
Like, they love them, I love them. So we've been friends forever.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, dude, I got a baby. I've been writing all these silly hardcore songs about being a dad. Do you want to play drums? And I'm going to sing. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in. And Matt from Mr. 23rd and him wrote some riffs, and then I brought in Craig from The Wrath, who's like the most dadly dad dude I know. He's a construction worker. He has 2 older kids, and now he just had another baby, so it's perfect. And it's just a super fun joke band, which is fun. It's like, it's cool to be in a band that's not serious, but serious.
And label mates with Cockspar.
Just had to make funny songs, and now I'm, label mates with Cockspar.
Yeah.
And the owner of Pirates Press is married to the singer of Cockspar's daughter.
What?
Yeah, and the singer from that band, the Barstool Preachers, who are also on that label, is his son and sister. So it's this crazy family. It's
a family affair.
It's totally a family affair. The owner, Skippy, he just had another kid like a year ago. So it was perfect timing. He was like, this is hilarious. This is totally my life right now. And it's really rad. It's so cool to be a part of the Pirate Punk or the Pirate Press family. They're totally cool guys, and
yeah,
they're down for whatever we want to do. Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So we have a new 7-inch coming out Father's Day this year, and hopefully we'll start playing actually more shows.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to get to?
I don't know. I think that's all the stuff for the past.
Feel pretty represented.
Yeah. 95 to 2000.
What's your favorite Narcore record ever?
Dang, favorite one ever?
Yeah.
It's got to be What Happens Next.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah,
It's insane. Book it as cover.
Huh?
Who can write Book it as cover?
Yeah.
Who can write a fucking song like it?
And also, that was the band I would see the most. Because when I was going to shows, none of the other bands played.
Yeah.
Ill Repute was still playing.
Yeah.
Some sort of Aggression was playing. But
they were in
Denver.
Colorado.
Yeah.
And then how about
Jesus Freak or something I saw once. And then, I don't know. But it was Ill Repute.
Kyle wasn't playing the metal?
He was playing Stigmata.
Okay.
But Dr. No had since, I think they might have played, I think I might have saw one Dr. No metal show.
Yeah.
And then he changed it to Stigmata.
Yeah. Did he record under the name Stigmata ever? Because that was that's a New York hardcore band too.
Yeah.
So there's 2?
Yeah. There's a CD.
Okay.
We might have one at the budget bin in Salzers. I'll take a look.
Okay.
I've seen it come through a couple times.
And it goes to the budget bin. It's got no like value attached to it.
I mean, the people that buy CDs there probably don't have any idea who it is.
Yeah.
Well, some of them might, but I usually see it used,
Yeah.
So I'll keep an eye out for the next one.
Appreciate that. Dude, what was the best time you ever saw Ill Repute?
Oh, the best time I ever saw Ill Repute? Man, the shows at the Mayfair Theater were always really fun because there would be like 600 people there. There was a half pipe with people skating, a huge circle pit, and we'd always be there with like 40 friends, kind of. So we always felt pretty safe. And those shows were really rad.
Did they take out the chairs?
Some of the chairs.
So there were some like movie chairs in there.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember when I went, it was like, I don't know, I saw some like acoustic person play.
Oh really?
They're like sitting in chairs.
Yeah, there's definitely some chairs, but they're in front of the stage. There's a big open spot.
Okay.
We actually, some of our friends kicked out a few other rows. Sorry guys.
Doesn't matter now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now. But I still know some of the dudes that ran the place. So sorry guys.
Yeah.
We gave you a bum time that one time. But it was fun. That time was really fun. But there's been a lot of rides. Like the show that Missy 23rd, when they got back together at Ojai, that show was really amazing because they just played all the good, like all the stuff you want to hear. They played. And
that's what they do. That's
and everyone was so excited to see him come back.
Yeah.
Because it was right at, because, they played with Tony for a long time, just singing.
Yeah.
Which was cool,
Well, I love Bleed.
Yeah.
And everyone that's listening to this podcast is going to be sick of me saying that by now. I think it's made it on like literally half the podcasts, how much I love Bleed.
So we had the Tony Ill Repute for a few years, and so I think everyone was just super stoked.
Ready for Jim to pop back.
To have have everybody except for Carl.
Yeah.
But, Chuck was playing drums and that was good. It was rad. It was fun. So I don't know, either one of the Mayfair shows or that Ojai Mr. 23rd Ill Repute, like, first back together. That show was just, I think I did like 5 stage times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you hurt my shoulder that show.
I'm sorry.
I got
some ice over here.
It still hurts.
I'll ice it down for you.
But yeah, that's awesome. All right.
Well,
anything
cool.
else?
I don't know.
Thanks so much for doing this.
Stay punk.
Stay punk.